Happy New Year's Eve. It's me. Do you remember me? Little Rokk. Little Rokk from Arkansas. Hope you had a great Christmas. It seems like it was quite a long time ago, but it was a week and a bit. Well, less than a week. In fact, a day less than a week and a bit. Because a week ago was Christmas Eve, and now it's New Year's Eve. And do you know what I'm saying, right? Listen, I hope you had a good one. Whether you celebrate Christmas, interesting facts about Christmas, but do I talk about Christmas now anymore? Or do I write it off? Do I say, no, it's gone. You can't talk about it anymore? I don't know. I think we should talk about it. I do. What I did discover, loads of stuff about Christmas, like, truthfully, it doesn't have a lot to do with Christianity at all. In fact, 90% of it is pagan, pre-Christian. Adopted by the church, by churches, by Christian churches, predominantly, to kind of compromise with our pagan friends. So things like carol singing was wassailing, which I think is such a great word. Wassail! It's like, what's up? You imagine the old medieval folk knocking on the door. What's up? And that's what they did. They would turn up on a door, medieval door, and they would knock, and they would open, and they'd all be stood there, drunk and brazen, as you like, with a great big vat of some kind of alcoholic beverage, beer or something along those lines, and they would share it for a gift. Might be halfpenny, might be some cash, might be a turnip, I don't know. But they would sing and they would share good cheer. So the lady or the gent of the house would scoop up a cup of ale, I guess, and they'd stand, God rest ye merry, and all that stuff. You see, it was sailing. Well, this carried on as a tradition. It's hundreds of years old. Hundreds of years. I mean, well over 1,000 years old. And it carried on as a tradition even when the church wasn't particularly pleased. They don't want to encourage drinking. So they adopted it and it became carol singing. And instead of what's up? They would give money to charity, you see. So that was a thing. The Christmas tree, well, we all know that was an old pagan tradition, brought across to the UK pretty much by the Queen's consort, Queen Victoria. Queen Victoria's husband, Prince Albert, when they were first married. It was a massive tradition in Central Europe, and Germany specifically. So that was a thing that was brought across, putting bits of meat on trees and decorating the trees to see out the old year and celebrate the harvest and, plenty of food for folk in the coming year. All this kind of stuff. Every tradition you can think of, even dear old Father Christmas, Santa Claus, as he's now kind of become universally known as, thanks to Hollywood. St. Nicholas, actually, interestingly enough, a Turkish fellow. And the term Santa Claus, I always assumed it was a concatenation of St. Nicholas, Santa Claus. But it turns out it's Dutch in origin. Again, brought across Europeans coming to America and being adopted as the kind of general term for the old portly fellow. It was never red as colour for Father Christmas or Santa Claus was adopted by, was actually part of a marketing campaign of Coca-Cola in the early part of the last century, you see. And Father Christmas was what he was known in the UK for about 600 or 700 years, until fairly recently. But what's interesting is that the whole kind of concept of Christmas, the celebration, the feast, the giving, the good times, it's kind of evolved over the hundreds of years, which is what all things do, isn't it, really? Which is good. So I found out a lot about that. And it turns out very little of it to do with the birth of Jesus Christ, which theologians and historians believe that the prophet Jesus of Nazareth was born somewhere around the summer, 32 years before his eventual demise, I believe. So again, nothing to do with this time of year, but there you go. And again, I thought gift giving was to do with the three wise men, but apparently the three wise men are only mentioned in one of the Gospels. So they're not even a generally held aspect of the whole thing, as far as the Bible's concerned. Indeed, the present giving part goes back to Romans, I believe, pre-Christian Romans, before they adopted Christianity in the form of Catholicism, of course, and they were given stuff at this time of year to each other. It's some kind of pagan ritual. I don't know. But it's interesting nonetheless. And of course, then you've got other religions and other ideologies that celebrate different things this time of year. I think there's sort of 2 or 3 big ones, as well as our own. But I think the thing about Christmas, look, it's the gaming advocate. Let's just Chase. How are you, my friend? Wishing you and your family a safe and blessed New Year. Well, and the same to you, my friend. Do you know what they say? It can only get better. It could get worse, but I'm gonna err on the better side. I hope you're well, my friend. I hope you had a fantastic holidays, Christmas, whichever I think you're in the Christmas box, as they say. Hope you had a good one. Hope you're looking forward to 24. I hope it brings you only good health and happiness. Me as well, and I am. That's good. That's excellent. I haven't streamed, Chase. I haven't been live now for some weeks, so this is a new appearance for me, and it all seems to be going okay. My apologies if you're getting any echoing or anything along those lines. You shouldn't do, but I have a very tiny amount of echo in my headset, so I'm not sure if it's making its way out to the wider world. But what I thought we would do, it's not going to be a particularly long stream. It's really just a little hello and great stuff. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for that. But I thought we would have a quick look at what's going on around the world. Because, of course, it is New Year's already in many parts of the world, particularly in the southern hemisphere, what we call the Antipodeans, Australia, New Zealand, working its way up into Asia. I believe India is about 3 hours, 2.5 hours away from their New Year's, from their midnight, as it were. And of course, here in England or stroke Northern Europe, we are at 15:38. So we've got about, 9 hours, somewhere around there, 8.5 hours until it's our turn. Don't know what you guys do. Do you have sort of big old celebrations that you do every year? I know when we were younger, when myself and Mrs. Rokk were younger, we would go out and in maybe clubs or to a restaurant or a pub, wherever there were lots of folk, and see it in with. But we haven't done that for a long time. Since the children, we've tended to have a more private affair in, just at home, family and friends with a family dinner. Oh, that's lovely, fantastic. It's been a funny old last few weeks for us. My dear old mum was rushed into hospital. All sparkling grape juice. Yep, I don't drink either, my friend, so there'll be no beverages of an alcoholic nature passing my lips. But my dear old mum was rushed into hospital with pneumonia about 10 days before Christmas. And it was a bit touch and go, I don't mind telling you. We thought we'd lost her for a little while. She was in quite a bad way. But the good news is, bless her, she pulled through. And we got her home just in time for Christmas, and she's making a very slow recovery, but at least she's home, and I spent a little bit of time with her over Christmas. I've seen them every day, but I popped in, took a Christmas dinner down, all wrapped up, ready to go on Christmas Day, and spent some time with them. And I will see them later today or tomorrow as well. I've got this on pause, by the way. You're probably wondering what the heck am I doing here. I'll get it going. So this is courtesy, as you can see, News 18 Australian news channel. This was now a little bit of time ago. I'm not sure how long ago this was. 2 hours ago. Sydney Harbour Bridge. Sorry to hear that. Oh, no, she's good though. But thank you. It was a little bit of a worry for a while. My dad, he's not in perfect health anyway, so we had to look after him. My brother and I took it in turns to look after him on a daily basis. But that's what families do. And the good news is that she was well enough to go home. So we've had her home and making a slow recovery. So it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, it would have been worse. Could have stayed in there over Christmas. That would have been a little bit depressing. But no, she's home. But thank you for that, my friend. I appreciate that. So here we are at Sydney Harbour Bridge. I lived in Sydney for a little part of my youth when I was very, very young in the early 1970s, but I don't remember it at all. I mean, I remember us staying in the camp because it was kind of a mass migration campaign that Australia ran in the 60s and 70s to encourage, actually I may even have gone back to the 40s. I don't know. Wasn't around then myself. Can't vouch for the history of that. But certainly, hello Streamlabs. Certainly in the early 70s, and we lived. So they were encouraging migration into Australia. Needed to get some skilled labour into the place, which they did. My dad was a builder, so he automatically qualified. So we lived there for a few years. And here we go, look, 56, you can see it counting down here. So this was a couple of hours ago, Australia having now made its way through the international date line into 2024. 40 odd seconds. They always have done an amazing fireworks display in Australia. Breakfast time. Have a good one, Rokk. Oh, take care, my friend. Just wanted to make sure I stopped by. I really appreciate you, Chase. Thank you. Sending good energy and good vibes to all. Bless you. And enjoy your breakfast and enjoy what you've got, 18 hours or whatever it is until you've got to celebrate your New Year's and you have your family over. And I hope you have a fantastic evening, my friend, and a great breakfast. So I think we're at 10. Here we go. 10, 9. So you can just about see the lights of the bridge. And these are the two pillars that are counting down either side of the bridge. Here we go. They're about to explode. Boom! There we are. 2024 in Australia, a couple of hours ago. Down the right-hand side there, you can see the Sydney Opera House, famously nicknamed Nuns in a Scrum. Because it looks like those kind of nuns' hats all getting down into a rugby scrum, which I've always loved. But beautiful place, Sydney. Changed rather a lot. Joe, happy New Year's Eve to you, my friend. Happy 2024. Hope that it's got great things. Bless you, my friend, and the same to you. I hope you get to stretch those creative muscles that you're famous for, trying different things and with some success as well. So we're just getting together, Joe. Haven't seen anybody for a little while. Thought I would pop up before I completely forget how to turn everything on. Hopefully, I'll be doing a lot more of this in the new year. Managed to get through a lot of stuff over the last few weeks, and I'm looking forward to a more positive 2024. As they sang once, things can only get better. We're just having a little look here at Australia's Sydney. Sydney's not actually the capital of Australia, but it's certainly the largest city, so they tend to put on the biggest fireworks. They always have a great display. Funny, really, isn't it, fireworks? Originally invented by the Chinese some 1,000+ years ago. And now universally the symbol of celebration, which is a funny old thing because it relies on gunpowder and blowing stuff up. Definitely get it on your bucket list, Joe. I haven't been there since 1982, which was about 10 years after the first time that we moved out there. And I'm sure it's changed an absolutely massive amount since then. Well, I know it has. But it's a place I really, really want to go back to as well. And what I'd love to do, what I'd really love to do, is retrace the steps of where we lived when we lived there many years ago. Obviously, a lot of changes since then, as you'd expect. But I just love to just see if I can trigger some old memories. Bearing in mind, I was only about 6 or 7. James, how are you? Happy New Year to you, my friend. Thanks for popping in. Just a little New Year's Eve get-together before, because I know a lot of you guys are starting to get, particularly if you're living in Europe, you're getting ready to go out or get ready for family to come over and celebrate, to get rid of the old year. Get out of here, old year. And look forward to, I hope, a fantastic New Year. It's certainly going to be an eventful year. There's a lot of stuff that's been on the boil for the last couple of years. But do you know what? I'm going to put a positive spin on things. I feel like a lot of the negativity and bad vibes of the last few years are coming to an end. Balls for life. How are you, my brother? What's up? What's ale? At the beginning of the show, I talked about what I discovered about Christmas this past week. I always knew that Christmas was very much rooted in pre-Christian traditions that had been adopted for one reason or another, shoehorned into the kind of Christian theology. But I didn't realize just how much until this week. I mean, there's very little of Christianity in the whole thing, other than the good spirit. Stephen Holtz, ladies and gentlemen. I would do some re-steps to a local chippy if it was still there. Oh, I tell you what, Stephen. And by the way, Happy New Year to you, my friend. I'm a little bit early with the old Happy New Year's, but I'm not going to get an opportunity to do anything tomorrow. And later, I think, you guys are going to be getting ready, going out, having family over, that kind of stuff. So I thought I'd do a little New Year's Eve prep. Plus, it's only fair that I get my face back on this channel. But Stephen has been doing a fantastic job, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't seen it, 11 p.m. or midnight, depending where you are in Europe, on Thursdays. Ryan! Hey, you! How are you, my friend? I hope you and Crystal and the family had a fantastic Christmas and you're still enjoying your break, your holidays. But Holtz has been putting on a fantastic show. And I don't know if I'm talking out of turn, but we're definitely looking to make it a more permanent feature on late night Thursdays. So even when Bjorn is in a better place, more fit to come back and get back onto Rokk Players, we'll still have Holtz later for his unique and completely chilled out chat on gaming, which has been getting great reviews. Holtz, Happy New Year to you guys. I've just wished my Japanese friends. Yeah, I was just saying that, Stephen, I was just saying that obviously Australia's a couple of hours ago now. We're moving up through Asia. So Japan, as you rightly said, and Vietnam and China, they all celebrate the New Year's because it's the one thing that doesn't matter what religion or what your culture is, there's one thing. Actually, it's not strictly true. Not everybody celebrates the same calendar, it has to be said. Some people do have different calendars. But for most of the world that use the Gregorian calendar, I believe it's called, then this is very much the day that we end that last year and move into the next. Of course, it's an arbitrary date. We choose it to be what it is. But nonetheless, it is something we all celebrate, isn't it? And even if you've had a particularly miserable year, it gives you something to look forward to, doesn't it? And if you've had a great year, it gives you something to celebrate. So it's a great time of year just to chill out. And how are we all on this lovely New Year's Eve? Well, it's actually my brother's birthday tomorrow. So it's my brother's birthday's eve. And for the next 2 weeks, he and I are exactly the same age. Well, not exactly the same age. There's obviously almost a year between us. But for 2 weeks, we're the same age. And then in the middle of January, I skip forward a year. So we'll be doing some birthday stuff with my brother tomorrow on New Year's Day, which is nice. Get to see my little bro. And then this evening, my young girls, little Rokks, they're doing their own thing. My eldest is up in London. So she's going to the London fireworks, the big, massive London display. They put millions into that display. You actually have to pay if you want to get close enough to really experience the whole thing. You have to pay. They've not paid for the very front, but they've paid enough. So her and her other half are going to be experiencing the London fireworks, which I'm sure will be amazing. Happy birthday to little brother Rokk. Absolutely. Bless him. Bless him and all who sail in him. That's what I say, Ryan. It is a funny old yet. So it's his birthday tomorrow, and then it's mine in a couple of weeks. We're being so close in age. Does he look like you? Do you know, he looks nothing like me. Interestingly, now he's younger than me, Stephen, but he's very grey. And he's a handsome man, don't get me wrong. But he has my dad's side of the family, which normal greyness in their 50s. On my mum's side, all of her brothers and sisters, including my mum, didn't get grey or didn't go grey until much later into their 70s, which is what's happening with me. So I benefit. I've got a little bit of grey coming in on the sides, but not a great deal. So I benefit from my mum's genes and still have very much my original dark hair, whereas my brother is very much after my dad's genes. So he's pure white, like Father Christmas. Very distinguished, I have to say. When it comes to aging, it has to do with genes. It does. It absolutely does. People say about, I had a real shock and I went grey. And I don't know if there may be something in that, but certainly it depends on your genetics and testosterone and all sorts of things. So yeah, my brother is, we sound identical, by the way. On the phone, we sound very similar. But we don't look the same. We're about the same height. But we do look different. And I'm not going to embarrass him by pulling up a picture. I wouldn't do that to him, but he's a lovely fella. I love him dearly, and we'll be seeing him tomorrow. So that's all good. But it's always been funny for that couple of weeks every year that we've been the same age. And I know, Holtz, you've got a twin, haven't you? So, but you're not identical twins, but you are. I think I'm right in saying this. But I remember seeing you and your brother when you recently went to visit Cowboy in New York, and I remarked to myself, well, very clearly, there's a definite likeness. But do you find, Holtz, though, that as twins that you still have similar thoughts and similar interests, or are you completely different? Because I know there are some people that they're identical. They're like clones, aren't they? Because I often think twins, or being a twin, is a bit like snow. I'm trying to think of something funny and clever, in the sense that it's so different to different people, isn't it? Snow's not a good one. Love, maybe love, because we use the term love, but actually there's so many varieties and variations of love, aren't there? You can love ice cream, but that's nothing like the love you have for your partner in life, or the love that you feel for your children or your pets. Totally different love. And I think with twins, it's a kind of generic term. I appreciate that for people born at the same time. But there are so many different shades of twinism, aren't there? Some people are literally clones. They look and act identical. They're separated genetically. Whereas other people are two different babies born at the same time in the same womb, and therefore they have different mannerisms and they don't look identical. More as a kid, but not with us as adults. We're more alike in thoughts and tastes than being opposite. Yeah. And I suppose in a sense, Stephen, that may not even be because you're twins. It may simply be because you are the same age and therefore you experienced the same events and the same cultural triggers, if that makes sense. So, you know, if somebody who was born, I don't know, the other side of the country on the same day as me came to live in the same town and went to the same school, they will experience similar things to me, and they'll watch similar programs on TV, and they'll be, exposed to the same music and the same culture and the same movies. So as you grow older, you're bound to say, well, we have similar interests because that's what you've grown up with. Do you know what I mean? Versus people who say, no, I can have a thought and I know that my twin is thinking the same thing. And in those cases, it's almost certainly because they literally were an egg that split and the genes were identical. Do you know what I mean? I'm not a geneticist. I do pride myself on knowing that DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. That's something I'm very proud of. But as for the kind of science behind it, I don't know. Now, this was Sydney. Let's see if we can find something that's that's live right now. Let's have a look. So we have a countdown down here, but this is a K-pop thing going on, I think, and I'm not sure. Oh, here we go. We've got 3 minutes. If this is live, yeah, look, 3 minutes until, or just under 3 minutes until these guys are live. Let me just see. The brightest Capuzzo stars will shine tonight as we welcome 2024 with surprises and fire performances. Asia. So I don't know if this is Japanese. It's obviously Asia. Maybe you guys know more than me. Speaking to my twin is like speaking to myself, though I can't be called crazy. Yeah, that's fair enough, isn't it? I wonder if this is more to do with Korea and kind of a K-pop thing going on. I don't know what Capuzzo is. Stephen, you're much more into the whole Asian scene than me. Do you know if we're looking at a countdown to Korea here? They're getting ready. They're 2 minutes. It's 11:58 where they are. So we're almost we'll see what's going on there, won't we? They've still got fireworks going on, unless, oh no, they're identical. It's a screen. But they're getting into the mood. So that's all good, isn't it? I hope you guys had a good Christmas. Stephen, I hope you had a good Christmas, my friend. And what did you guys get? Mine was very much a socks Christmas. I got this hoodie, which is very nice. I got a nice t-shirt, which I can't really show you, but it says The Walking Dad. And it's the logo from The Walking Dead with a dad kind of chasing after a baby, which I thought was brilliant. That was my daughter, bless her. What else did I get? I got vouchers for some jeans. I bought some new Levi's yesterday, and some new shoes. So I brought some shoes yesterday as well, and that was all good. Here we go. We're inside of the 1 minute for these. We're not going to put audio on because we're going to have music and stuff that's going to catch us out. But we can at least watch what happens. We're bang on time here, aren't we? We ought to have a map up really to see where it's going across. But they look like looks like a kind of K-pop band thing going on. Socks, loungewear, PJs. Yep. Traditional man gifts as you get older, my friend. This is so true. I got some lovely lounge trousers as well. So fully enjoyed those. Very comfy, I have to say. Very comfy. But I'm very much I'm a giver. I am. I'm more a giver than a taker. And I here they're counting down. Here they go. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom! Come on, let's see your fireworks then. Come on, here we go. There we go. Philippines. Thanks, Stephen. The Philippines. There we are. So it is now 2024 in the Philippines, and they've got their fireworks banging away there. Long Johns. Is it cold where you are? Winter hat and gloves and Lego. Well, you're never too old for Lego, Ryan. That's for sure. My dear old dad, bless him, my brother bought him a jigsaw puzzle. Now, I don't think I've ever seen my dad doing a jigsaw puzzle ever. So we've had to kind of school him in the art of putting the corners down and finding the edge pieces and stuff. It's a lovely idea. My brother thought it would kind of, get him trying to use the old grey matter. But there you go, look at them. I wonder what they had. I wonder what their 2023 was like. I'm not sure what life's like in the Philippines right now. It's had its moments, that's for sure. And I think it's fairly settled politically at the moment in the Philippines. There's, if I think I'm right in saying that it's a majority Muslim country, although sort of fairly sedentary is not the right word I'm looking for. In terms, here's all famous Philippine bands, look, saying Happy New Year. And there's Barbie and David, bless them. I can only imagine very, and they're all very young, aren't they? They seem to have very young, oh no, maybe I'll take it back. Pok Wang and Eugene Domingo. Maybe not quite as young as the others were. But you know what? They're the big stars of the Philippines. Is matching the piece of the jigsaw front lid classified as cheating? Depends how big the lid is. In this case, it's a huge jigsaw and a tiny, tiny picture. So yeah, no, that's not cheating. Happy New Year. I don't know what we've got on. We don't tend to have... so in England, anyway, it's different in Scotland and potentially Wales and Ireland, but certainly in England... There's usually music leading up to the big fireworks show at midnight. So they'll have somebody like Lady Gaga doing a 2-hour set live. I don't know who it is tonight. I'll have a look and let you know. But that's kind of what they do. And then they go over to the fireworks and they have a big old fireworks thing. You know, the thing that annoys me a bit, though, with the London fireworks, as excellent as they are, is they have a musical montage, which is quite clever, because they try and link it up with things and events that have happened in 23. But they don't kind of mix it well enough for me. They don't, I'd like to hear the music kind of merge and maybe do some sort of DJ stuff where they into the next bit of music or something, but they just kind of stop and it goes into the next one. So cheating with my 3x3 jigsaw. Jokes aside, love doing jigsaws, but you need the space. Yeah. Neil, Happy New Year's Eve to you, my friend. I think that's how you're supposed to do jigsaws holes. Yeah, don't tell him, mate. I was going to humour him. There was, look, from Blackpool. Somebody in Blackpool's wishing them a Happy New Year's in the Philippines. Oh, bless them. Let's see what else we can, see who else we can find that is live. Sky News is probably doing, there we go, Hong Kong. So they're doing live firework displays from around the world. So we'll probably leave it here. I think this will make sense because this will show us pretty much everybody. Let me go to full screen if I can. There we go. That's it. Hong Kong starting off with. So basically we've done Australia, we've done New Zealand. It would have been New Zealand, I think, then Australia. Auckland, Sydney, then we moved up into Asia. We're doing a jigsaw right now. There you go. Where the picture doesn't match the cover picture. Oh. What have they done then, Neil? Have they just shown you like a little piece of the corner of the jigsaw or something and it's like down to you? I do love those. Wasgij. It sounds like it's some kind of an Asian word that you're giving us there, my friend. I'll take it, whatever it is. But we'll stick with Sky News and then they will take us around the world. So Hong Kong, of course, is a a province. It's an island off of China until at some point in the 1990s, I think, or was it earlier in the 2000s? Jigsaw backwards. It's too bright for me, mate. I didn't spot that one. There was me thinking, I was thinking it was like a Happy New Year in Korean or something. But it's now, it was handed back to the Chinese. The Chinese have kind of left it pretty much as a commercial centre because it makes a heck of a lot of money. It's been a big financial centre for many, many years. So that's why it's still looking very kind of city. Having said that, China has gradually becoming more and more of a commune capitalist. There's probably a merger of words in there somewhere. The picture you have to make is what happened 10 seconds after what you see on the cover. Oh, that's awesome. Neil does get some clever stuff, doesn't he? Where'd you find that, I wonder? Yes, so I'm trying to think if I did have James O'Brien's Mystery Hour game, which right now I still haven't worked out how it works. But what we did do is we bought another one of those Jackbox games, the ones that you play online with your phone and everything. Brilliant, aren't they? So we already had a couple of those. We bought a newer one, and we were playing that on Christmas Day with some family, and loved it. They're so great. They're easy to get into. They're entertaining. The fact that you can use your phone simply, just really great, engaging. Just a brilliant concept. So we love to play those. So we did a bit of that. The girls had a couple of nights of Monopoly. I'm not a board game lover, so I don't bother to get involved in those. But they love it. That's all that matters. So that's all good. It looks like Hong Kong's fireworks are going on, aren't they? You see, the thing about fireworks is I find them a tad boring. Like, wow, you've got to kind of be there for the noise and the spectacle and stuff, haven't you? What I love, though, and I'm surprised that we've not seen this so far, are those amazing drone displays that you're now seeing all over the place. Some of them employ hundreds and hundreds of synchronized drones to come up with the most amazing light displays. Whole scenes, and they program them all in beforehand. And then these things all take off, and then they're all completely automated, controlled by the software. Absolutely amazing. They're the ones I love. Jigsaw puzzles in disguise. Transformers. I've been watching some good TV. I can recommend the new series of Reacher. That's excellent on Amazon Prime. I like a bit of Reacher. That's good. I can recommend a show called The Continental, but with the caveat, it is very adult. Disney World fireworks are on another level, aren't they, Holt? And they, over the recent years, they've been involving the drones as well. We were there last... I want to say 2017, 2018. And they had drones then, and they were amazing. And that was the first time I'd ever seen them live. But, just at the time, I don't even think I realised what they were. I was like, what? How did they do this? The Continental. Yes, John Wick. Exactly, Ryan. I was getting there. It is the same universe as John Wick. Predates John Wick. So it kind of starts around 1955, but most of the show takes place in the early 70s. And it has, there's, at the moment, I think they're adding more to it. There's 3 episodes on Amazon Prime, but they're an hour and a half each. They are full-on movies, each episode, but they are connected. They're not different stories. They're all one long story. But cinematically, it is gorgeous. It is so beautifully made, but it is very adult. There's some nudity, but not much. But it's very violent, as you'd imagine from a John Wick kind of thing. But it's very, very good. And something else that I've been watching for a little while now, but I absolutely love it, is Monarch, The Legend of Monsters, or whatever it's called, which is on Apple, I believe, and it's about Godzilla. But it is so brilliantly done. It has just the CGI is great. Not that many monsters, by the way. Don't go watching it thinking you're going to get a lot of Godzilla. I mean, there's probably, out of the 7 or 8 episodes that there've been so far, there's probably about 10 minutes of creatures. But it's so well done, so beautifully done. I discovered some stuff about Godzilla that I didn't know. I'm going to give you some Godzilla info now, guys. You may or may not know this. Turns out Godzilla is the kind of anglicized English version of Gojira, Japanese Gojira, which means gorilla whale. That's what it means, a gorilla whale. And apparently it was a term that a nickname, some huge guy that worked in, a Japanese dockyard, I think it was, had. And it stuck and it kind of became a thing. So Godzilla, I don't know why God and Zilla, but it was Gojira. And I suppose if you listen to a Japanese person say Godzilla, it does sound a bit like Gojira. I don't think they do the Z bit. So Gojira, meaning god whale, as in whale, and God. There you go, a little bit of info for you, ladies and gentlemen. A little bit of info for you. Gojira, which is god whale, apparently. So there you go. There's a band I know with the name Gojira. There you go, Ryan. And that is it, my friend. It is the derivation of Godzilla, which means god whale. Look it up. I kid you not. But yeah, definitely Continental, definitely Monarch. If you've got access to Apple TV, check out Monarch, Legend of Monsters. It is about Godzilla, or Godzilla features in it, but it's more than that. I don't want to give anything away because you don't really... It all comes together in a meaningful way by about episode 7. So if I was to give much of a synopsis, I'm going to give it away, and I don't want you to. I don't want to give anything away. It's just beautifully written, beautifully acted. It has, and I've been trying to remember the name of the fella. Oh, what's his name? He's a great actor who... You'll know him when you see him. The point about the fella is he plays a fairly key role in the film. He's a guy in his 60s. Oh, it'll come to me in a second. Anyway, his son plays him as the young version of him in the show. So it spans 2 times, really. Current, or near future, and 1940s, early 50s, just after World War II. And this guy, whose name will come to me, I'm sure, his son plays him in the earlier part. So definitely worth watching. Oh, Ryan's member for 8 months. He's lovely. Wonder why they never call it Kong Godzilla. Yeah, or Jira. I don't know. I don't know where the Zilla part comes from. I mean, obviously, you know, there are the early 1960s movies where the whole concept of Godzilla comes from. And whether they gave it a kind of an Englishish, Americanishish name to make it easier to market, I don't know. But that's where it is, Godzilla. But yeah, so Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell plays the older version of himself, not himself, but his character. And then Kurt Russell's son, who, by the way, is a really good actor. I don't know why I'm surprised, but he is. And he plays his son. So, not his son, sorry, plays him when he's younger. Yeah. Sky News live stream. So that one's kind of ended, hasn't it? So much for giving us fireworks around the world. We've seen the Philippines. Hong Kong we've just seen. I'm looking for the ones that are live. I think this one is doing various different places. Difficult to know where these are, but we'll leave it on because it's fireworks. And it's pretty, isn't it? So yeah, there you go, Godzilla. So I love that show. So good. So good. And I didn't think I would, I'll be honest with you. I thought that, because I've never been much of a fan of the whole kind of Godzilla thing, but this is just so good. And of course there's the movie Godzilla -1, which I know nothing about, but I have only heard everyone that's seen it saying what a fantastic movie it is. I know nothing about it. Let's have a little look on here. Godzilla -1. Here we go. We'll watch this. We've got sound off, so we can do that. But I have to say, the graphics, the CGI in Monarch, Legend of Monsters, is film quality. I mean, it's big budget stuff. Watched a film last night called The Family Plan, by the way. That's also on Apple. Starring Mark Wahlberg. Really good. Great film. Great holidays film. One that you can pretty much watch with the family. Certainly anybody over the age of 8. And we watched it. We thoroughly enjoyed it. And it was absolutely brilliant. That one's on Apple as well. I suspect it will be the beginning of a new franchise. The premise, which I'm not giving anything away because you'll get this from the trailer, is that Mark Wahlberg, ex-rapper, you may or may not know the Wahlbergs, Mark and Donnie. Donnie was the founding member of New Kids on the Block. Yes, this is true. And Mark Wahlberg, who I believe is the younger of the two, who's in this film, was in some kind of rap group many years ago, but they're both more well-known these days for their acting. But the premise of the movie is that Mark Wahlberg is, or was, an assassin, and he's kind of given it all up, a bit like John Wick, actually. False identity, married, got kids, sells cars in a car sales place, and he's doing okay, and he's got the most gorgeous wife, and his kids are fantastic. And then the people that he used to work with decide they want to take him out. I forget why. And they start chasing him across America. And at this point, and for most of the movie, he's not told his family what his past was. So he's kind of having to keep them away from... And it's a comedy. It's predominantly a comedy. And he's kind of having to keep them away from this information. Really well done. It's good fun. I highly recommend it. Crystal loves them both. Both the Wahlbergs, they're both superb. I agree. I can't remember I think Mark Wahlberg was in the original reboot of Planet of the Apes, which when I was a kid that and Star Wars were my favourite movies. I loved Planet of the Apes. They did, I forget the name of the fella now that did, he does some really weird stuff, and he did a remake of Planet of the Apes, which was terrible. And for somebody that loved it, I was just depressed. And then they came out with a more serious version, which I think Mark Wahlberg was in originally. And then they rebooted it again and made it even more serious. And they had the dude that plays Gollum and stuff in Lord of the Rings, forgotten his name, doing all the voices and the acting and what have you. There is actually a new Planet of the Apes movie coming up, which I don't know. I've seen the trailer and it didn't do it for me. And I'll tell you why. because Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, because I think we're now at a point with CGI where it should be indistinguishable from reality. You know, we even games now with Unreal 5, the graphics are stunning. So with a movie where there is no limitation on computational power and storage, right? For me, they should look really real. This, to me, still looks like a computer graphic, right? It does not look like a real ape on the back of a horse. And I know you can say, well, it's, you know, look, Rokk, it's meant to be a chap with a, you know, it's human features and stuff. I get all that. But it still, to me, looks like a CGI graphic. And I just feel, because I love the whole Planet of the Apes backstory, the world and everything. And I just looked at this and thought, oh, it doesn't, they've not moved it on, have they? Why can't, you know, those apes should look as real as that human looks like a real human. That's my feeling. But I'll no doubt watch it when it turns up on streaming services. This kind of feels a little bit like the end of the first movie with Charlton Heston, you know, with that huge, that iconic, one of the biggest moments of any movie, of any, you know, of any generation, when he realizes for the first time in the entire movie that he actually went to Earth. He thought he was on another planet somewhere, and he suddenly realizes at the end, this was Earth. And of course, if you'd not seen any of the Planet of the Apes stuff before and you watched it for the first time, and I think it was 1969 when it first launched, if you went to the pictures, the cinema, the movies, for the first time to see that film and you didn't know much about it, you probably would have thought the same thing. So you're merrily thinking that they've gone off and landed on some planet where, you know, there's been a kind of an alternative evolution, and apes are the dominant species, only to get to the end and realize that he was on Earth. Fantastic. So Holt is looking forward to the new Apes movie. I mean, I'm happy to backpedal on what I just said. If it turns out that actually it's just a really good story, but to me, I kind of want to see stuff. Oh yeah, this is interesting as well. Gladiator 2 is coming. See, that looks too CGI for me. Now, I do not know the context of this story. It looks, I'm looking at the architecture, and it looks to me to be much later in. It almost to me looks like medieval times. So if it involves Romans at all, which is possible still, because, you know, they were still kicking around 1,000 years ago. So potentially it could be a lot later in terms of the Roman history, towards the end of the Roman Empire, as it were. And it certainly looks like that's Denzel Washington, isn't it? Look, you know what? If Denzel Washington's in this, that's it for me. I'm happy with that. Oh, it's a fan concept. I take it all back. It's a fan concept movie. I was thinking to myself, this looks a bit weird. And of course, that was taken from Denzel Washington's Macbeth, which he did a superb performance. He's one of my favourite actors. I love Denzel Washington. Starred in one of my favourite movies of all time, which was Glory. So here we are with, and this is my point. This is genuine footage of a gorilla. A child fell into the enclosure, and people were scared that he was going to, but he didn't. He actually protects the child. Sadly, having protected the child, I think they still got shot and killed. You see, he's a silverback. Which means that he's an apex. He's the leader of the pack. The leader of any gorilla society has the silver back. And I think it's a process of being the leader. I think it's one of the weird natural things that happens once they become a leader. I don't think you suddenly become a leader because of that. Good stuff. I know, mate. I'm fairly certain I heard that he was working. Oh crikey, Alien. What's he called? Gladiator 2. I'm fairly certain that he is working on a Gladiator 2. Upcoming epic historical drama from Ridley Scott. There you go. Ridley Scott, out of interest, is older. So he's currently working on something like 16 different movies, right? And he is older than Joe Biden. Boom. How amazing is that? Yeah, Gladiator 2. I mean, I know that was a fan thing, but it is happening. It's definitely happening. As to when, I have no idea. I can't believe...
Gladiator defied...
Whoops. I can't believe that Russell Crowe's going to be in it, mind you. If Russell Crowe is in this, like that, then it will be CGI, it will be AI. Because if anyone has seen Russell Crowe recently, he is a very portly, very aged man. And with the best will in the world, even if he lost a load of weight, he ain't going to be looking nothing like he used to. Director Ridley Scott returns to helm the sequel. Looks like Denzel Washington is going to be in it, though. To helm to his critical and box office hit. I love the movie. Gladiator 2 will explore the story of Lucius, nephew of Emperor Commodus, originally played by Spencer Treat Clark. So the little young lad and Joaquin Phoenix. Paul Mescal, after Sun, takes on the role of adult Lucius. And he's surrounded by an all-star cast of Denzel Washington, Joseph Quinn, Pedro Pascal is going to be in it. Wow. Plus Connie Nielsen, Derek Jacobi, Jimon Hunsu returns. So he was the African gladiatorial slave. If you remember, he keeps hold of the little icons, the little kind of statues that Maximus has of his son. And when he dies, he gives him, he places it on his soil. I mean, this is obviously not, by the way, a clip from the film. There's some really weird kind of thing going on here. But as for when, I have no idea. But as I've said, the thing is that dear old Ridley is not young. They've got it down here as release date of November the 22nd of 2024. So that's a year away. Makes perfect sense. Will Ridley be at the opening? This is the question. He is quite an aged gent. But I'm really looking forward to that one. That'll be amazing. Holtz found out that there's a Twisters movie coming out. Found out after watching Twisters for 30 years. Yeah, that was that old tornado movie, wasn't it? Twisters. Let's see if IMDb... There you go. Twisters 2024, Holtz. An update to the 1996 film, Twister, which centred on a pair of storm chasers who risk their lives in an attempt to test an experimental weather alert system. That'd be pretty cool. That one is July, summer of 24, so a little bit a summer movie to look forward to there. It'd be interesting to see what movies are coming up in 24, wouldn't it? I haven't been to the pictures, the cinema, for a little while, but I did hook up with an old buddy of mine over Christmas who I haven't spoken to for a while, and we both agreed that we would go, we'd have an evening where we would meet up, maybe have a bit of a pizza thing and go and see a film. So definitely looking out to see what's coming up in 24. Let's see if they've got all these people that passed in 23, like Tina Turner, Matthew Perry. So they usually have a thing, don't they? What movies to look forward to. Let's see what they got going on. I do love IMDb. It's one of my go-to apps on my phone when I'm trying to find out. You know, when you're watching a film and you see, like I was watching the Family Plan last night, and And I thought, the young girl in it, I thought, I recognise this girl. Where have I seen her before? And then, so I came to IMDb, which is my little go-to for such things. And indeed, there she is. She was in, not The Walking Dead, but Fear the Walking Dead, which I really enjoyed, by the way. And then they went and put it behind a paywall, and I haven't been able to watch the newer seasons. But yeah, so she is in Fear the Walking Dead, and she's very good. She's excellent in this film. But that's what I do with IMDb. I think to myself, I've seen this. Where have I seen her before? But it's a good film. I certainly can recommend that one if you're up for that kind of a thing. There's a new Paddington. Paddington has knocked it out of the park, hasn't it? The movie franchise. I only saw the first one, but I've told that the second one is better. And I know it's opened it up to a much bigger audience. I do believe, for fans of trivia, and you know I do love a bit of trivia, I do believe that Jeremy Clarkson's family money comes from the fact that his mum made Paddington Bear dolls, and unlicensed, I hasten to add, she ultimately got pulled up by the estate of, oh crikey, what was the writer called? It'll come to me in a second. Michael, the writer of Paddington. The estate got in touch and said, you can't do this. And so she negotiated a license to produce these Paddington Bears and made a lot of money and paid for young Jeremy to go to private school and what have you. Michael Bond. There we go. What, are you serious, Holtz? A new Paddington coming? That's got right. Let's check it out, Ryan. Let's have a look, my friend. Paddington 2024 we're looking for, aren't we? Here we go. Paddington in Peru with Imelda Staunton, of course, from Downton Abbey. Here you go, my friend. Paddington in Peru, where, of course, the bear originated. Young Paddington, who got off the station at Paddington in London, Paddington train station, didn't know where to go, and ended up going home with whatever they were called. Were they called the Bonds? They weren't, were they? Michael Bond, there you go, the writer's Michael Bond. I thought Michael Bond was dead. It's like Paddington's quite old, unless they're just crediting him because he's the original writer. So there you go, there's a new one for you, Ryan. That's got Ryan well excited. A new Paddington, not a lot to see. Him clearing what could be marmalade, I suppose, off the screen. He's famous for eating marmalade, of course. And, yep, 2024 from Studio Canal, which is the French production company. Produce a lot of movies these days. I'm fairly certain they're behind behind Wick. And a lot of other... They seem to... Studio Canal seem to specialise in those big action movies, the big stuff. So there you go. That's a good one. And what others have we got? Let's put 2024 in and see what comes up. See what Someone Like You, The Accountant. There's actually a film called 2024. Not what I was looking for, but... so these are the films we've looked at recently. Movies in 2024. A Boy and His Dog, that's 1975. Oh, look at this. Trump 2024, The World After Trump. Whoa. But this is 2020. So maybe there was like a future thing. Addresses the aggressive movement to transform America and strip away its freedoms and Judeo-Christian values. I'm actually interested to read that. Watch this. However, I do note that it only has 2 out of 10. But interesting nonetheless. But that's only because I love politics. I truly love politics. What's the Trump prophecy? With 1.5 stars. One man's journey. When Mary Colbert hears Mark's message, she feels called to start a national prayer movement across the nation for the leadership of America and a return to the godly principles. It's a MAGA movie. Wow. You are kidding me. 1.5 out of 10. It's a MAGA movie. Probably. I bet Trump saves the world. Look at him, like he's coming out of a burning house. Wow. Like, mate, this is bizarre. This is literally a movie about praying for a new leader. But look at the value. Look at the money that's been put on this. Wow. That was 2018, so that was while he was president. How interesting. How about Trump versus the Illuminati? A clone of Donald Trump survives the Earth's destruction by stowing away aboard the last space-bound shuttle. At the same time, across space, the human race continues to fight a costly battle. This looks to me like it's been put together with clip art against Illuminati. Look at it. It's literally Unreal 5 stuff that somebody's slapped together to make their own little movie. This has got 2 out of 10 as well. Let's have a look at the reviews. This is literally clip art. There's a few that have given it a few. There's quite a few. Look, 144 people loved it. 391 thought it was a dog's dinner. It doesn't look like anybody has actually left any user left it. Oh, here they go. Was impossible to get through 5 minutes of this movie. This is the single most idiotic film I have seen. It made films like Laser Blast and looked like Oscar contenders. Wow. The special effects of spaceships and so on were actually quite decent, says this individual. The Trump clone voice was good. It's meant to be satire, but it lacks imagination. Oh, wow. You'd want to watch it just for the sheer what, wouldn't you? I'll make a movie which is a sci-fi movie, says Stephen, where Trump meets aliens. I'm calling it Trump E.T. Trumpet. Love it. Love it. Yeah, you shouldn't really bother with this one, says Paul Hackinson. Granted, I wasn't really expecting much from an animated CGI movie with a title such as Trump versus the Illuminati, but still, with a chance to sit down and watch it, I did. After all, it could just happen that this was going to be a hilarious spoof. Well, it was something. Let's just get down to business. Trump versus Illuminati was bad. Painstakingly and irrevocably bad. Wow. I just want to see it now. Where can we get to see Trump versus the Illuminati? Funny. There's some gems out there. Rebel Moon's come to Netflix recently. I think it's Netflix. I have to say, I started was it Netflix or Amazon? I started watching it and I bailed fairly early on. I probably didn't give it a proper amount of time. The reason I bailed was, to me, it felt like another Dune, one of those kind of Star Warsian things where it's more about the culture and it's just really about empire and stuff in space, and they bore me. I love sci-fi, but I love science fiction that's rooted in some kind of science and isn't just all about fiction. You know, the amount of movies and TV shows, they put it on another planet or in the future, and because it's on another planet or in the future, they call it sci-fi, when actually it's really just fiction. And this is what Rebel Moon felt like to me. And to be fair, as I say, I probably didn't give it enough time, but that's kind of where I was with it. Foundation on Apple is similar, but I've stuck with that. That's actually quite clever. If anything, it's too clever. So let me know if you've seen Rebel Moon. Let me know what you think of it. You may not have seen it. I mean, as you can see here, it's a big budget thing. But again, you know, it's very much that kind of future Star Wars. I'm probably really underselling it. This is actually Zack Snyder's movie. Oh, it is Netflix. Yeah, there you go. A little N just popped up. You may have seen it there. It started airing in December 22, so only a few days old. I really should probably give this a proper go. I literally gave it like 10 minutes and I thought, oh, it's not going to be any good. You know, like dudes with Nazi uniforms and stuff, and you think, oh, it's just going to be like Dune. What a weird looking body that guy's got. It's almost like somebody's gone and pasted a six-pack on him. Dune, yes, Dune 2. I wish they hadn't split it out, though, Holtz, and they've kind of left such a massive gap, haven't they? Do you see my point here, though? This has that kind of feel, doesn't it? You know, that sort of Mad Max meets Dune, you know, meets View from the High Tower kind of thing. And that just doesn't do it for me, to be honest. I like my son. I think this is the guy from Gladiator, by the way. Yeah, there you go, look. Jimon Hunsu. They said, didn't they? He was in the new Gladiator 2 movie. This is actually your fella here. He's actually a really good actor as well. I'm glad to see him still getting big roles. Sofia Boutella. Name doesn't ring a bell, but I'm sure she's a very accomplished actress. So yeah, if you've seen this, or if you plan on seeing it, let me know what you think. Because I'd love somebody to say to me, no, actually, Rokk, give it a go. It's a lot better than you think. There's a griffin thing going on here, look. It's not very original, is it? But I don't know. I just initially thought, it's not going to do it for me. Because I can get this kind of drama from a show like The Continental. You know, the baddies versus goodies, lots of shooting each other, that kind of stuff. Ooh, spider thing. Oh, I don't like the look of that. It's kind of a robotic spider going on. Anyway, lots of stuff. So let's have a final look and see if we have any more live streams going on that we've not been aware of. Neil says, I will watch Dune 2 when it comes on Prime. I agree, they should have done it in one go. Or at least, Neil, have had maybe a 6-month span. I think COVID basically stymied it. I'm fairly sure the second part was meant to come out a lot sooner than it has done. And, interestingly, previous Dune incarnations I've not been that into, for very much the reasons I've just given. I did, though, enjoy the recent film. I thought it was very stylish, very intelligent, but I just felt like, guys, you've stopped it at a point where I'm just getting into it, and I don't know I'm going to pick it up. Yeah, The Hobbit, they did the same thing, but at least with Lord of the Rings, they had them Christmas after Christmas after Christmas, didn't they? They did the 3, I believe it was originally, each Christmas or each end of year. And that kind of felt like it was a reasonable gap of time. You hadn't completely forgotten the story. But interestingly enough, watching them back now, watching them back to back is far more enjoyable, Lord of the Rings, than they were the first time around. I mean, they were and are beautiful movies, spectacular movies, but the story is so rich and so complex that span of time makes it really hard to keep up with. A bit like any of the big shows like The Walking Dead or Fire and Ice. What am I talking about? Game of Thrones. Such a complicated, multi-threaded story that even 1 week's pause for me was too much. I had to let them bank up and binge them. Neil was disappointed because I started Dune not knowing it was only the first half. Yeah, it's just not, it's not good, is it, mate? It's not good. So what have we got live in the fireworks then? A lot of these I think are just rinse and repeat. Asia, we've seen Hong Kong. Australia, we knew about Australia, that was hours ago now. So where are we? We're 5:15, 1644 in the UK. Let's call it 1700. So we're about, 7 hours away. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 7 hours away from midnight UK. 6 hours away from Central European time. So it's going to be fun. I think my youngest is going out in a minute, meet some friends, and she'll come home and we'll do the midnight thing as a family, which I think is lovely. We'll be doing a bit of that. Obviously, if you are in the States, you've got a few more hours to go before the sun goes down over on your coast, as it were. Before ending with you, I guess, I'm just trying to think whether Hawaii... Is Hawaii the end or the beginning? I think it's pretty much the starts again, doesn't it? So I'm guessing Hawaii is the last of the big celebrations. I don't know. Wish Primo was here. He could tell us. Either way, it's all going to be good. Right. I think I'm going to end it here. Oh, hello, Russia. Well, Russia's hours away. I think Russia's 2 hours ahead, so they're about 4 hours down the road, aren't they? And I don't know that I really wish Putin. I saw, they're just showing, it's a Russian show, they're just showing Australia. I saw a concert that Paul McCartney gave in Russia some years ago, a few years ago, not that many years ago, because the Beatles did a show there as well, I believe. Or McCartney did one, and we did another one fairly recently. And he was doing all his Beatles stuff, and it was a massive audience in, is it St. Paul's Square in Moscow? And right at the front was Putin, looking as miserable as he is. Just, there was McCartney doing, she's gone away, bye-bye. And there's Putin. The audience are like with their cameras and stuff, and Putin, planning his world domination. I wondered to myself whether old McCartney looks back and thinks, I wish I hadn't done that now. I don't want to give that guy any credence. I'm sure he has a thought. I don't know how old Paul McCartney is. He's got to be, he's certainly in his 80s, I believe, or he's just 80. But he's certainly getting on that way, isn't he? Let me ask my AI friend. Paul McCartney. You'd know this, Stephen. He's from your neck of the woods. Paul McCartney. Let's see. This will tell us how old he is. He is 1942, so he's 81 then, I think. Because my dad's 80. He was born in 43. So I'm going to put him down as 81. And he looks pretty darn good on it as well. It's amazing what £1 billion can do for your complexion. France getting ready. They're a few hours. They're six hours down the road, I think. Singapore. That's been and gone, but it's live, so they're still doing some fireworks. I wish we'd found somebody that was doing the whole drone thing. Because that to me that's the state, the modern state of the art in terms of displays and stuff. For your fireworks, two a penny. But the drones, wow. I know for a fact, and a little bit of trivia and then I'll let you go, that right now in Vegas, they're sweeping it for dirty nuclear bombs. Apparently they do it every year. Every year there's a threat of a nuke going off in Vegas. So they sweep it every year for your dirty bombs, which are those little tiny nukes in a suitcase. Hasn't gone off yet. There's not been one that's gone off yet. So I think you're safe. But I'm just saying, it's a bit of a fact. Right, guys, let's get back up to here. And let me wish you all a fantastic new year. Wherever you are in the world, predominantly I know that you are in Europe and you are in America. I'm sure you'll have a fantastic evening, whatever you're doing. And I hope you all have a brilliant 2024. From me, it's a massive, massive thank you for all of your support. You have been amazing. You have got me through some pretty ropey times, and I hope we've supported each other along the way. I am looking forward to coming back early in the new year. Where are we next? Maybe even next week. I may be even back on your screens next week, so watch out for that. Hopefully, if nothing gets in the way. In the meantime, I just want you all to have a fantastic 2024, incident-free, full of health, full of happiness and family goodness. And we'll close out on that point. Have a great 2024. Rock out.